man named Hosea, and he was called by God to marry a woman. This woman's name was Gomer, and there was something very specific about this woman that he was called to marry. God was very specific. He said, find yourself a woman who's a harlot. Find yourself a woman who is a whore, really. That's what she defined. I'm not trying to use harsh language. She's a woman who slept around, an adulteress. And so Hosea obeys. He obeys, and he marries this woman named Gomer. Their marriage started off pretty good. They were married and they had a child. A lot of times a child is something that's awesome that brings a man and a woman together. It kind of enables them to love each other more than they probably would without the child. You see, for Gomer, this wasn't enough. Hosea loved her. He loved her a lot. More than I could explain to you, probably. And he had such a profound love for her, but that wasn't enough for her. There were nights where she wouldn't come home, and she'd be wandering around in the streets looking for a different lover. And there were nights that Hosea probably was lying in bed thinking to himself, where's my wife? She hasn't come home, she's been gone all day. And I don't know about you guys, but not knowing where someone you care about is worse than knowing where they are, even if it is a bad place. You have no idea. Probably lying in bed thinking she could be dead, maybe she is injured, or maybe she's gone off and she's with another man. I don't know about you guys, that would kill me. I would lie in bed, I probably wouldn't sleep. Some of you may have experienced being cheated on or something like that. It's a sickening feeling. It started happening more and more. She was gone more and more. The time that she was gone started getting longer and longer. But Hosea loved her. He loved her so much. He loved her so much that he would cry out to her and beg her. He says, please, stop leaving. Stop leaving me. I love you. I want to pour out my love on you. I want to offer you a love that you can't get from anyone else. He said, if I have to, I'll build a wall around this house so you can't escape. Stay. But still she would go. And what happened was one time she came back and he recognized that she was pregnant. And you would think at that point, you're just like, that's it, it's over. Break it up. He still loved her. He still showed her compassion. And he cared for that child. This happened a second time. As soon after that child was born, she left, got pregnant again with a different man yet again. I don't know about you guys, but I don't have that kind of patience. Maybe I do, but I don't think so. And it's finally got to the point where one day that Gomer left, his wife left, and she didn't come back. When she had left so many times, he didn't know if she was going to come back or not. Like I said before, not knowing is worse than knowing. Where's my wife? I can't imagine that thought in my mind. The person I love more than anybody else, where is she? Well, this has been a long time. And Hosea had gotten word. He found out that she had been with another man for a while. This lover, this man that she was with discarded her and said, I'm done with you. And she was left homeless. She had no food, she had no money. And the only thing left for her was to sell herself as a prostitute. She ended up selling herself as a slave to somebody else, to be auctioned off. And as soon as Hosea had been told that this has happened, God told Hosea, go and reclaim your wife. You're a harlot of a wife. And Hosea, he went as soon as he heard. And he went down to that marketplace imagine walking around where people know who you are and say, have you seen my wife? It's like, I know your wife. She's a whore. Yeah, she's been with every guy. He said, have you seen my wife? He eventually found her. He found her. She was dirty, tired, sick. And she was in the stocks. She was in chains as a slave, being auctioned off to be bought. And it said, the auctioneer says, does anybody want to buy this woman? And she's been with many men. She's been homeless for a while. She doesn't look too great. She's just a shadow of the woman that she once was. The auctioneer says, does anybody want this woman? And Hosea says, I will buy her at any cost. I will buy her at any cost. And Hosea buys his wife, gives everything he has, and reclaims his wife, brings her home. And I thank the Lord that he brought restoration to that relationship. Now, I share that story with you not so you can get the warm fuzzies inside about a love story between a man and a woman. I tell that story because that woman in that story is me. That woman in that story is all of you. It is all of us. We are the ones who have prostituted ourselves off to anything and everything, chasing after a desire that is fleeting, that is not fulfilling. We've poured ourselves out to so many things that are not God. But the beautiful thing about that story is, yes, while we may be harlots like her, we may be prostitutes like she is, we have a God who loves us even more than Hosea loved Gomer. That man is named Jesus, and he loves us so much to the point that he walked into the marketplace of our lives. He walked into the marketplace of my life. He was shamed. He was scorned and he was rejected. And he found me broken. He found me screwed up. He found me not worth much. I'd spent myself. And I'd given myself up to so many things. But he paid that price for my life. And he paid it with his life. And this next song is called Man of Sorrows. And it's all about that walk into the marketplace to redeem sinners like me and to redeem sinners like you. There's a God who loves you far more than anything else in this world could claim to love you. And he died on that cross so that you may have redemption, so that you may no longer be a prostitute to the things that will give you nothing, but to the God who will give you everything. Thank you for listening.